Look around the room you're sitting in right now. There are things in this room that, under the right conditions, are worth more than the cash in your wallet. Not gold, not silver. The thing under your kitchen sink, the box in your medicine cabinet, the extra rolls in your bathroom closet. In 1933, a man in Ohio traded a bottle of aspirin for 2 weeks of firewood. In 2002 in Argentina, when the peso collapsed overnight, a bar of soap bought a meal. In Venezuela in 2018, a roll of toilet paper cost more than a full day's wages. This is not ancient history. This is what happens when the currency stops working. And the 30 items I'm about to show you are already in your home.
Here is what most people don't understand about economic collapse. It doesn't announce itself. The Argentinian peso collapsed in December 2001. People went to sleep with money in the bank and woke up to frozen accounts. Within weeks, everyday items were worth more than the currency itself. Tobacco, alcohol, basic household supplies became the real medium of exchange. In Germany, in 1923, hyperinflation moved so fast that workers were paid twice a day so they could spend their wages before they lost their value by evening. In the United States, during the Great Depression, a great number of American families relied on the barter system to pay their bills, feed their families, and survive. The logic is simple. When paper money becomes worthless, the new currency becomes simple items that people need to use every day: food, water, soap, medicines. These collapses share one pattern. The people who fared best were not the ones with the most cash. They were the ones with the most useful things.
You already know that some things matter more than money. You've seen it. After a hurricane, the neighbor who had a generator didn't need cash. Everyone came to them. After an ice storm, the person with extra firewood became the most valuable person on the block. After any extended power outage, the household with a 2-week food supply ate well. The household that depended on the store did not. This isn't a theory about the future. This is a description of what has already happened, repeatedly, in your lifetime, in this country. The only question is how deliberately you've prepared for it. The 30 items I'm about to cover are not exotic. They are not expensive. Most of them are already somewhere in your home. The difference is knowing which ones matter and having enough of them.
Here is the number that changes how you look at your home. The average American household contains over $3,000 worth of goods that would function as direct trade currency in a disrupted economy, not as collectibles, not as investments, as things people need every single day and will trade significant value to obtain: medical supplies, food staples, hygiene products, fuel, light, heat. The same household typically holds less than $400 in physical cash. In a functioning economy, that's fine. The card works, the app works, the ATM works. In a disrupted economy, even for 72 hours, the ratio inverts. The $3,000 in goods becomes the real money. The $400 in cash becomes paper. Most people have the inventory. They just haven't thought about it that way.
10 items first. The consumables. Things that get used up and cannot be substituted.
1. Salt. Salt preserved food for thousands of years before refrigeration. Non-iodized salt in sealed containers stores indefinitely. In every historical barter economy, salt was among the first items to gain currency value.
2. Matches and lighters. Fire starting capability is fundamental. Waterproof matches and butane lighters cost almost nothing to stockpile and trade at significant value when supply chains are disrupted.
3. Candles. 72 hours without power affects nearly every American household at some point. Candles are lightweight, cheap, store indefinitely, and trade well.
4. Toilet paper. What we take for granted as basics can seem like major luxuries during an economic collapse. Toilet paper was among the first items to disappear from shelves in 2020. Its barter value and extended disruptions is historically documented.
5. Soap. Bar soap, not liquid. Bar soap stores for years. It requires no water pressure. It covers hygiene, wound cleaning, and basic sanitation. High trade value in any disruption scenario.
6. Over-the-counter medications. Aspirin, ibuprofen, antacids, antihistamines. These are irreplaceable when supply chains fail, and their barter value, historically, is disproportionate to their cost.
7. Alcohol, isopropyl, and drinking. Isopropyl alcohol is a wound cleaner and disinfectant. Sealed bottles of spirits store indefinitely and have functioned as currency in every major economic disruption of the 20th century. 8. Coffee and tobacco. Both are habit-forming. Both have functioned as parallel currency in every documented wartime and collapse economy. Prison economies run on them. So do disaster economies.
9. Baby supplies, formula, diapers. Parents will trade almost anything for these. High urgency, irreplaceable, always in demand.
10. Feminine hygiene products. Same logic. Necessity items with no substitutes. High demand, high trade value, almost never included in standard prepper lists.
10 more. The tools and skill-adjacent items.
11. A manual can opener. Electric openers require power. A manual can opener works when nothing else does. In any grid-bound scenario, it becomes immediately essential for anyone with canned food storage.
12. Sewing needles and thread. Clothing repair is a survival skill. Needles and thread take up almost no space, cost almost nothing, and trade at significant value when the ability to repair fabric means the difference between having clothing and not.
13. Paracord. 550 paracord has over 200 documented uses. It costs less than $10 for 100 feet and functions as trade currency in any outdoor survival or shelter building scenario.
14. Duct tape. Every repair scenario requires something to hold. Duct tape is irreplaceable, lightweight, and universally recognized as a high-value trade item among people with any preparedness awareness.
15. Seeds. Specifically open-pollinated, non-hybrid. Seed packets cost under $5. Open-pollinated seeds produce plants whose seeds can be saved and replanted. In a prolonged disruption, the ability to grow food is worth more than almost anything. The seeds that enable it trade accordingly.
16. A hand-powered water filter. Clean water access is the first tier of survival. A quality hand filter removes 99.9% of bacteria and protozoa. Water purification tools are indispensable in crises where public water supplies might be contaminated or disrupted.
17. Wool blankets. Wool insulates when wet, doesn't burn easily, and lasts for decades. Military surplus wool blankets cost under $20 and have functioned as trade currency in cold climates throughout recorded history.
18. Lard or tallow, rendered animal fat. Shelf-stable cooking fat, lamp fuel, and skin protectant in a single item. Grandmothers kept it in crocks under the counter. It stores for months without refrigeration and was a standard trade commodity before vegetable oils replaced it.
19. Baking soda. Leavening, cleaning, deodorizing, and basic first aid in one cheap container. Stores indefinitely. Non-negotiable utility.
20. Honey. Raw honey does not expire. Archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs. It functions as a sweetener, wound treatment, and preservative. High trade value, long storage life, difficult to substitute.
The final 10. Energy and comfort items, the ones most people overlook entirely. 21. Propane. Small camping canisters. Cooking fuel when the gas line fails. Small canisters are portable, tradable, and immediately essential in any grid-down scenario that extends beyond 72 hours.
22. Batteries. AA, AAA, D-cell. Flashlights, radios, medical devices. In an extended power outage, batteries become currency almost immediately.
23. A hand crank or solar radio. Information is survival. Knowing where relief is, what roads are open, what the situation is, this has trade value beyond the device itself.
24. Reading glasses. This one surprises people. If you need reading glasses and you don't have them, you cannot read instructions, labels, maps, or anything written. For an aging population, which is most of rural and suburban America, reading glasses are a medical device. They trade accordingly.
25. Prescription medication stockpile, whatever you take daily. Work with your doctor to maintain a 90-day supply. In any supply chain disruption, People dependent on daily medication will trade almost anything to obtain it.
26. Fishing line and hooks. Lightweight, extremely compact, indefinitely useful for food acquisition. Standard survival currency in any scenario near water.
27. Vegetable oil, sealed, unopened. Cooking fat, lamp oil, skin and wood treatment. Sealed vegetable oil stores for 18 to 24 months. High utility, high trade value.
28. Vinegar, white distilled. Cleaning, food preservation, wound treatment, weed control. White vinegar is one of the most versatile household items that exists and costs under $2 a gallon.
29. Alcohol wipes and bandages. Wound care when medical facilities are unavailable or overwhelmed. Simple, cheap, irreplaceable in the moment.
30. A hand-powered flashlight or lantern, not battery-dependent. A crank flashlight requires no batteries, no fuel, no power source. It works when everything else doesn't. In any prolonged disruption, light is not a luxury. It is a functional necessity that trades at real value.
Here's how to approach this practically. You are not trying to build a bunker. You are trying to close the gap between what you have and what would function as real value in a disrupted economy.
Start with what you already use. Look at your consumables: soap, medications, hygiene products, food staples. If you currently keep a 1-week supply, build to 3 weeks. If you keep 3 weeks, build to 3 months.
The principle is simple. Buy one extra of the things you already buy every time you shop. Over 6 months, you will have built a significant barter-ready inventory at almost no additional cost. Then, look at your gaps. Do you have a manual can opener? A hand-powered flashlight? Open-pollinated seeds? A water filter? These are one-time purchases. Most cost under $20. They don't expire, they don't require maintenance, and in the right circumstances, they are worth more than anything in your wallet. 2 things I know you're thinking. First, this sounds like prepper territory. I'm not a prepper. Fair. Neither were the 15 million unemployed Americans in 1933. Neither were the Argentinian middle-class families who went to bed solvent and woke up in a financial crisis in 2001.
Preparation is not a personality type. It is a practical response to the documented reality that systems fail.
The question is not whether you believe in collapse scenarios. The question is whether you want to be the household that has what others need or the household that needs what others have. Where do I store all of this? Rotate it. Use it. A 3-month supply of what you already consume takes up less space than most people think, roughly the size of a standard closet. You are not storing for the end of the world. You are storing for the Tuesday when the store is closed and the card doesn't work. The thing about this list that keeps sitting with me is how consistent it is across history. Salt appears in barter records from ancient Rome, from the American frontier, from the Depression, from every documented wartime economy, and from every modern collapse: Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina. The same items every time across thousands of years and dozens of cultures. Because human needs don't change. People need to eat, stay clean, stay warm, treat wounds, and maintain some sense of normalcy even when the official systems have failed them. The items on this list are the physical embodiment of those needs. Your grandparents kept most of them as a matter of routine, not because they expected collapse, but because that's what responsible households did before just-in-time delivery made it feel unnecessary. The average American home in 1950 kept a 3-month supply of staple goods, not a prepper stockpile, just normal household management. We stopped doing that somewhere in the past 50 years, not because it stopped making sense, because the store was always open, the card always worked, and the truck always came.
The truck has not always come. The store has not always been open. And the people who knew what was actually valuable, not what the currency said was valuable, but what people actually needed, those people were ready.
You have most of what you need already. You just need to look at it differently. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.